As the owner of a link building agency, one customer service question that I see popping up every now and then is, hey, I bought a backlink, why didn't my rankings go up? So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about when you're doing anything in SEO, whether that's improving your content or building new backlinks, why it might not be having the results that you're looking for. And hopefully by the end of the video, you'll have a much better idea of exactly what you need to be doing to get the results that you want, which of course is getting as high as possible in the rankings on Google. All right, let's get into it. So I'm Chris Giges, and you might know me from my link building agency over at sirlinksalot.co or my other Facebook group or YouTube channel. Or maybe you've seen me around at some SEO conferences or on some other podcasts, but you can go to my website for more information on me. So SEO is essentially a game of buckets. And I think I might have first heard it explained this way by Mr. Ted Kubitis over here. Sorry if I'm saying your last name wrong, Ted. But anyways, I feel like this is a really good way of explaining it to people. So the main buckets that we have for SEO and ranking on Google are your content and your on-page SEO, your technical SEO, and your off-page SEO or your backlinks. And then we've got this fourth mystery bucket down here, but we'll talk about this one later. So just to give you an example here, let's say that our technical SEO bucket is full, meaning that our technical SEO is really good, and that our off-page SEO and backlinks bucket is also very full, meaning that we've got a lot of backlinks or high domain authority, whatever you want to call it. So for this one, we'll say our content and our on-page SEO is really not that great. We'll say the bucket's just filled up to about here. And now as a solution, the website owner decides, hey, I think I need more backlinks, so they start filling this bucket up even more. So in this case, adding more backlinks probably is not going to fix your problem because your bucket's already over full with backlinks. You really need to be addressing this bucket over here to show Google that you are really painting this full picture and giving them everything that they want to make sure that you rank. Likewise, another thing that I see pretty often is the website has good technical SEO, their content is very good, but they think that they just need to keep re-optimizing their content, right? Keep putting it through Search for SEO, keep changing their titles and their H1s or something. They think this is magically going to make them rank higher. However, they are just really neglecting backlinks over here. All the websites have higher domain authority than them. And so no matter how much they change and improve their content, they're not going to outrank their competitors unless they address this bucket here. So the question really becomes like, which bucket is empty, right? Which one do I need to address? So now I'm going to talk about some of the common things you can look for each of these buckets to see exactly what you need to be focusing on to try to increase your rankings. And at the end of the video, we'll talk about this guy over here, which you definitely don't want to forget about. So first things first, you always want to make sure you don't have any kind of penalties. Using a tool like Ahrefs, you could come in and just see if there are any ranking drops that correlate with a Google algorithm update. Because as we know, there are two kinds of penalties. You could get a manual action, but you could also just hit by an algorithm update, and this won't show up in Google Search Console or anything. So you can just come and see if your ranking decreases align with something, and then you could dive into, hey, exactly what was this December 22 link spam update? Go read a bunch of stuff on Reddit or Google or asking in SEO groups, whatever. Try to understand what this update is about, and this will give you a very good indication of what direction you need to go in. And then, of course, you also want to make sure you don't have any manual actions. Come over to your Google Search Console, scroll down over here, click on Security and Manual Actions over here on the left, click Manual Actions. You can see here we've got no issues detected. But if you did have a manual action from Google, you would definitely want to address that first. I will say that algorithmic penalties are a lot more common than these manual actions. So yeah, definitely make sure you're looking into Ahrefs first, just to kind of give you a good guidance of where you should be looking. And once you've got that out of the way, the first bucket I like to check is for technical SEO. This kind of stuff gets neglected by a bunch of SEOs, but it can absolutely break your site and make sure that you never rank. For checking your technical SEO, I highly recommend you get a tool like Screaming Frog. Just pop your site into Screaming Frog, run the crawl, a bunch of stuff will come over here on the right-hand side. You can even click Issues over here to see what things it thinks are most important. They also have a free version. I think if your website is under 500 URLs or so, you don't even have to pay for the tool. But if your site is over 500 URLs, it only costs like $100, $150 a year, something like that. It's super cheap, but super useful. It's one of the SEO tools I really couldn't live without. If you want to know what other tools I recommend, you could come over to this page on my website over here and check all these out. And while I'm promoting myself already, why don't you go ahead and give the video a like if you're enjoying the content and give my channel a sub. Because yeah, if you like this, there's a good chance you'll like all my other videos. I'm always posting stuff about how to improve your rankings on Google. Back to my list over here. When you're auditing your technical SEO, here are some of the most important things that you can look at. Indexation, of course, is a big one these days. Making sure your site's not set to no index in WordPress somehow, or a bunch of your pages aren't set to no index with a tool like Rank Math or something like that. Pages not being indexed can also be caused by other things. For example, maybe you just don't have enough backlinks pointing to your website and things are indexing really slow. Or it could even be a content quality problem as well, especially now with Google's helpful content thing that they're doing. But there could be some technical SEO things that are causing pages not to get indexed as well. So you check that out in Screaming Frog as well as in Search Console as well. You just go ahead and check out their indexing report here. I'm not going to be able to cover all of these in depth, but these are just some of the important ones. Let's go ahead and run through them real quick. Missing title tags, duplicate title tags, titles that are too long, Missing meta descriptions, duplicate meta descriptions, long meta descriptions, short meta descriptions. These aren't quite as important, but still something you could be looking at as far as just showing Google a quality signal that you are trying to do all the things on your website correctly. Missing H1 tags or duplicate H1 tags, 404 pages, pages with 500 errors, redirect chains that are too long, crawl depth greater than 3. This is an important one, making sure that basically any page on your website can be reached in 3 or fewer clicks. Orphan pages, meaning that pages on your website have 0 internal links going to them. Thin content, pages with less than 400 words. Load time, aka page speed. You could go to Google's tool here, Page Speed Insights, and then they'll let you know exactly what your problems are on your website and how you can help speed things up. You don't really need to get things perfect here, but getting them in the green would be nice. But as long as they're not really bad, I probably wouldn't even worry about that too much. And most of this stuff can just be fixed with page speed plugins, using a CDN, stuff like that. And you could also hire someone on Fiverr to take care of this stuff pretty cheap as well. Missing alt text on your images is another one. Schema errors, or a lack of schema. Maybe if you're in e-com or something, having schema could really be useful for you. Duplicate pages and near duplicate pages. So for technical SEO, I'd say the most important ones are really like indexation, stuff with your titles and H1s, 404s, 500 error pages, redirect chains, crawl depth, orphan pages, and making sure your page speed isn't completely horrible. All right, so now that we've analyzed our technical SEO and we say, hey, it doesn't look like there are any big problems here, we can go ahead and assume this bucket is pretty full. So now let's go ahead and check out our content and on-page SEO. Of course, I'm not going to be able to cover everything in this video, but here are the most important things that probably cover 95% plus of problems that I see. Number one, people are trying to target keywords that are too hard for them to rank for. Come over to Ahrefs and pop your keyword into Keyword Explorer. You can see the keyword here, buy backlinks, is rated as a hard keyword to rank for. It's got 1.8K search volume. Search volume, a lot of times, higher search volume keywords will end up being harder to rank for anyway. So if you don't have a tool like Ahrefs, but you have something like Keywords Everywhere, you can go ahead and just look at your search volumes to see how hard they are. And you can also use a free extension like Mozbar to check the domain authority. It's not as good as Ahrefs, but it gives you a pretty good idea. So is your website pretty fresh? Do you not have a lot of backlinks yet? Are you trying to rank for super hard keywords that have really high search volumes? There's a good chance that you just need to do more keyword research and try to rank for stuff that's a little bit easier for you until you can build your backlink authority. So we're kind of mixing two buckets here. We're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but keyword research, I like to put in as part of content. That's really the first thing you do as far as creating content on your website is keyword research, right? Next up, you need to be making sure you're matching search intent. This one is also super duper important and one that I see people mess up a ton. So let's go ahead and type in our keyword buy backlinks over here on Google. We'll go ahead and skip Reddit. So here, buy backlinks the right way in 2024. So it's a guide on how to buy backlinks. Ahrefs, should you buy backlinks? It depends. SEO clerks, this one's going to be a little bit different, right? So this one is actually going to look like a service page where you can actually buy backlinks. Number 5, buy backlinks, high quality backlink building services. Again, it looks more like a service page. It's their homepage. So yeah, it's their company. It's what they do. Top things to know before buying backlinks in 2024. So you can see for this keyword, there are actually 2 different search intents that they were really seeing. One of them is kind of like a guide on buying backlinks, how to do it correctly, or if it's worth it for you. And the other search intent would be actually buying backlinks. So if I had a page on my website that was targeting this keyword buy backlinks, but I was writing about something different, for example, maybe my article was, here are the 10 best types of backlinks that you could buy. It could work, but really you're going out on a limb and it would be much safer to try to rank with what people are already ranking for, the types of articles that they're writing. So it's either going to be some kind of guide on buying backlinks, or it's going to be a service page where people can buy backlinks themselves. This is super duper important. It can also change over time, meaning that Google can release a core update and one day you're ranking for all these keywords and then a core update rolls around and Google says, hey, actually we think searchers are trying to get something different when they type this keyword. And so you might lose all your rankings for that page one day because they start showing different types of articles. So you just need to go in and check, see what kind of articles are ranking, what they're talking about. Next up, of course, you need to make sure you're doing your basic on-page optimizations correctly. And the main things for on-page optimization are your URL, your title tag, your H1, your H2s, and having the keyword at least 1 or 2 times in your content. So over here on this toxic backlinks article that I wrote on Sirlinks a lot, you can see we have the keyword up here in the URL. When we hover over the page here, you can see that we've got the keyword toxic backlinks in the title. We've got it here in the H1. We are mentioning it in the content. And we've also got it in some of our H2s and some kind of related keywords in our H2s as well, right? If you're a beginner, I really highly suggest using a tool, or even if you're not a beginner, using a tool like Surfer SEO or like Neuron can really help you out a lot for this. And again, you can go to my website to this recommended tools page for more info on these. Next up, we have internal linking, which is something I see people just skip over completely all the time. You can see in our toxic backlinks article here, we've got quite a number of links throughout our articles that are linking to other articles on our website. These are considered internal links. And these are also contextual internal links rather than These links down here at the bottom, we've got these related posts. We do not count these as internal linking. Yes, they can help bots crawl your site, but you really want to add contextual internal links throughout your articles on your site, linking to your other articles with descriptive anchor text. Most of the time, this anchor text will be either exact match anchors or partial match anchors. You don't really have to be too careful with it like you would when you're building backlinks. So do not sleep on this. It's also a little hard to automate. You could use a tool like Link Whisper for some help, but really I just like to do it myself in most cases. Next up, you need to make sure that you're covering the topic fully. Again, using a tool like Surfer SEO can help with this. Or you could just go over to the websites and use a plugin like Detail to look and see what kind of sections that these articles are covering that are already ranking in the top spots. You say, okay, I need to talk about these same subtopics in my article as well and write something that's kind of similar, but adding your own spin to it as well, making sure the article is bringing something new to the table and you're not just regurgitating information and having the same thing as everybody else. And this kind of ties into this next thing here, helpful content. Of course, a ton of people were hit in the September helpful content update as well as the March core update, and websites are starting to recover now. But in most cases, these websites that are recovering are also doing considerable content updates and changes like House Fresh over here. But anyway, I highly suggest you read over Google's helpful content guidelines over here. And this is really going to matter more if you are monetized with just affiliate links or ads, because for whatever reason, Google seems to scrutinize these sites a lot harder. Or if you're using a lot of AI content, this is probably a good place to start checking into as well. But I'm not going to cover all this in this video. You can check out this video on my channel for more info as well as this one. And there's probably about 10 more that I've got on here. And lastly, for your content, one of the big problems I see a lot is lack of topical authority, meaning you're not writing a bunch of articles around the same topic. For example, on our website over here on solinks-a-lot.co, we write a ton of different articles that have to do with backlinks. And what this does is it shows Google that we know what we're talking about when it comes to backlinks. Besides being a link building agency, we also put out a ton of different information on backlinks and how to build them, best practices, all that good stuff. So Google says, hey, these guys must be an authority on this subject because they're writing about all these different subtopics related to backlinks. And again, with all this stuff, you can go a lot more in depth, but these are just some of the top things that I see people making mistakes with their content and their on-page SEO. So now let's say our technical SEO is good, our content and our on-page is good. So now we're coming to check the last bucket, which is off-page SEO or backlinks, the thing that everyone hates to do. No one likes link building. This is why we got our successful link building agency over at solinks-a-lot.co, right? And we got this one too, but we'll check that one after. So first up, when you're auditing your backlink profile, you're going to be comparing yourself to your competitors. And the two main things is that you either have a lack of domain authority or you have a lack of page authority. So you can see for this website over here, housefresh.com, they have a DR of 60, which is basically their domain authority. It's how strong Google believes their entire domain is as a whole, all the backlinks coming to their entire domain, every web page on their domain. And then you have the UR here, which is the URL rating or the page authority measure. And because we're looking at their homepage here, this is how strong this page is. This is how strong their homepage is as far as backlinks. Let's come back over to Keywords Explorer and search for our keyword again by backlinks. And we're just looking at the top 10 sites that are ranking here. You can see their DR scores here. DR 95, 65, 73, 91, 49, 76, 67. So I would say, we got this lowest one right here, but basically you'd want a DR of above 50 to be able to rank in this SERP. How do you get a DR if you build quality backlinks to your website? All pages on your website, including your homepage. I made this video on my channel, Increase Your Ahrefs DR Fast, which ended up being a pretty well-performing video for me. So you can definitely check that out for more information on this, but the answer is that there's basically no shortcut for it if you want to do it in a quality way that Google actually understands. There's ways to manipulate Ahrefs, but if you want to do it in a way that Google understands, that'll actually make you rank higher. There's no shortcuts. You're just going to have to build quality backlinks over time. There's a ton of different ways you can build quality backlinks. So yeah, more videos on my channel on that. Next up, we have lack of page authority. So we can see on this page as well, the number one, of course, is Reddit, so we won't count that one. So we'll look at number two, their UR. Okay, I've got a UR of 8. And you can see how many referring domains each of these individual pages has. This is not their entire domain, but the actual page that's ranking. So this one has 42 links. This one has 95. This Ahrefs article has 622. This one has 674, 36, and 66. So you can see that you can expect to have to build a pretty good amount of links to this page to get it to rank on Google, in addition to having a pretty strong domain as well. So, if you have a domain with a DR of 20 and then you built 50 or 100 backlinks to that individual page, could you be able to rank for this? You might be able to, but you might need to just raise your domain rating overall as well, because both of these metrics can matter a lot when you're trying to rank for a page or a keyword. Then lastly, these things are a little bit different, but you want to make sure that with your previous link building, you are factoring in things like link diversity, anchor text diversity, target URL diversity, and if you've built a bunch of spam backlinks or have a bunch of really bad links. Link diversity, of course, is getting backlinks from a bunch of different sources. So you're not doing just guest posts, you're not doing just link insertions, you're not doing just Haro or just PBN links. You're kind of getting a diversified mix to create a natural backlink profile. Not doing this could signal to Google that you're doing something unnatural, so they could just keep you stuck forever. Again, anchor text diversity. So we come over to HouseFresh over here and we look up their anchor text. We can see that most of their anchors are branded and URL, which is very natural. And you can see that they're just using a bunch of different types of anchor text, and they're not just hammering exact match anchors all the time to try to rank for their keywords. So if you come into your anchor text and you can see that you're just spamming exact match anchors and it doesn't look natural, it doesn't look like just a bunch of random stuff everywhere, then there's a good chance you need to diversify your anchor text profile by building new links with natural anchors, branded anchors, URL anchors, generic anchors, topical anchors, long tail anchors, partial match. There's a bunch of ways to go about this rather than just slamming exact match anchors all the time, which you definitely do not want to be doing. And again, target URL diversity, meaning that you don't want to keep building links to a page that you want to rank. So if you come over to a keyword and you notice that all the pages for the keyword only have like 1 or 2 or 3 backlinks, and then you built 20 or 50 backlinks to the page, that's really not a good thing, because what you're showing is that this keyword or this type of page doesn't naturally attract a lot of links, and you've built way more links than any of your competitors. So it could signal to Google that, hey, these guys are doing something weird and we're just not going to let them rank for it. So instead of just slamming your money page over and over again, you could do things like linking to supporting content, linking to your other blog posts, pillar pages, hub pages, link bait content, your homepage. And then if you're doing good internal linking, all of this link juice will flow to your money page as well. Lastly, you want to audit, make sure your website isn't filled with a bunch of spam. Go over to Ahrefs, click backlinks, and just have a look through things. Look and see if all of these links are relevant. Are all of these titles and URLs and everything, are they about the same thing that your website is about, or are they at least somewhat similar? Does it make sense for a link to come from these things to your website? So if we're looking at HouseFresh over here, and then we saw a link was coming from something like a video game website, would that make sense? Probably not. It probably wouldn't be too relevant of a backlink. So, make sure your backlinks are relevant. Make sure that they're not all super low authority from like spammed out web 2.0s or something like that. You can apply some filters up here to check how many of your backlinks are actually kind of meeting a bar for low quality. I just said DR10, domain traffic 250, but you could definitely apply a lot more filters than just that. This is a very low bar, like I said. But yeah, if you see your backlink profile is filled with a bunch of irrelevant spam, web 2.0s, stuff with like gibberish text, foreign stuff, there's a good chance that you're going to need to diversify your backlink profile to something that looks a lot more natural and healthy. And you can do that just by building new quality links. You can consider disavowing, but in a lot of cases, disavowing can be dangerous because people don't know what they're doing. They end up disavowing links that are helpful. There was this awesome video on Authority Hacker recently where it said Ahrefs cancels study after disavowing disaster. So basically, they were disavowing backlinks that tools told them were toxic, and every time after they disavowed the backlinks, the website actually lost rankings. So they disavowed what they said were toxic links, and things got even worse after that. This is one of the main reasons why we don't tell people to rush into disavows and to only disavow as a complete last resort, and you really, really, really know what you're doing, or you're paying someone that knows what they're doing. Because a lot of the times, the stuff that a lot of tools will say is toxic or spam, or might even look bad to your eyes, even you look at it and it looks bad, a lot of this stuff can still help you. Google is not perfect at understanding this stuff. And lastly, our final bucket on the list, our mystery bucket, this is going to be essentially trust, or EEAT. This one's a little bit different from our other buckets because its effects are a little bit harder to measure. In a lot of cases, it seems that you don't really get ranking boosts from EAT or having higher trust, but essentially you don't get hit for it. So it could be more like a negative ranking signal, if you want to call it that, rather than something that'll boost your rankings. But if you don't have this stuff and your rankings are going down or you're not going anywhere, it could be something to look into for sure. Stuff that can increase your trust with Google could be things like branded searches. Are people searching for your brand name? Having an active social media presence. And no, I don't just mean social media profiles that are sitting there and you're not doing anything, or you're posting stuff and it gets 0 likes, 0 engagement, stuff like that. If you actually have an active social media presence and you're sending traffic to your website from social media, this is a huge plus. Any kind of non-Google traffic, so that could be traffic coming from these social media pages, could be traffic coming from YouTube, forums, whatever. If people are coming to your website from something that's not just Google, this could be a plus as well. Off-page mentions is just having your brand mentioned on other places on the internet. Having reviews on these third-party review sites like Trustpilot, stuff like that. Presence on any kind of other platform that might be applicable to your niche. Normal business stuff on your website, like your privacy policy, your refunds page, contact page, all of this kind of stuff that any normal business would have. You need to make sure you have that as well. And of course, the local SEO stuff, like having a map on your website, an address, phone number. All of this stuff adds legitimacy to your business, and it's stuff that a real business should do, so you should do it too. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it. Like I mentioned before, these are the main buckets that pretty much 99% of problems will be in for most people. I tried to cover a lot of stuff in this video, but essentially it's like, what is SEO, right? It's kind of impossible to cover in one video. So there might be other stuff that I didn't cover that could be very important, could be keeping you ranking for as well. But these would definitely be the main places I'd be checking out first if I was having any kind of trouble ranking and I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted to see. Now, if I'm being honest, the problem usually comes in one of these two buckets right here. You'll see technical SEO problems from time to time, but usually people just have a large backlink gap. They have way lower domain rating than the other people that are competing for the keywords they're trying to go after, or they just have really bad content. Maybe you think your content is good, but you need to make sure that Google thinks your content is good as well. And these are two very different things, right? I also just realized here that I didn't even mention anything having to do with like bounce rate, user engagement metrics, stuff like that. So yeah, there's obviously going to be stuff that I missed out in this video, but writing good content, making sure that users actually like your content, they're reading it, they're not bouncing off the page and clicking on another result, having good titles and things like that, not misleading people with what they're trying to click for, making it easy to find information on the page. I guess all of this could be wrapped up in helpful content as well, but anyway, just throw that in real quickly. So just remember, you got to try to fill all these buckets up and not just one. Back in the day, you used to be able to just fill this bucket up, the backlinks bucket, and you pretty much could ignore these other things and just rank for anything. But this has changed as Google has got better at understanding content and really looking for these other kind of quality signals on your website. All right, guys, that's it for now. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it a like and give my channel a sub, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.